Chapter 22. Alaris was on her way towards the office from the tea party when a strong, big hands grabbed her arm from the back. "What's the meaning of what you did?" he asked. She looked at his pair of blue eyes. "It is as it is. I bless the possible future crown prince," she said nonchalantly. "Why?" he asked. Pain was written all over his face. "Why wouldn't I? Naveen doesn't have the qualification to inherit the throne, and Mail was suffering from his lessons as the prospective heir. And I think long about it. I don't really need to fight for power, do I? I was going to leave here in less than 2 years. As long as I have our contract that states that you're giving me the autonomy in managing the slums of the Empire, then I no longer need anything. However, my opinion of you're getting another wife and having a child with her before you appoint the crown prince still stands. It will give you enough time to think of a long-term way to fix the power balance between the new nobles and old ones," Alaris explained. "Just how far are you willing to hurt me?" he asked. Her eyes widened for a second, then he laughed mockingly. "Why would you be hurt, Your Majesty? In the first place, you are the reason of all this. Didn't you marry me because you wanted to have enough power to protect the Empress consort? And there you have it. I'm thinking of a plan to protect her then. Please excuse me, Your Majesty. The Empress consort needs you. I heard pregnant women constantly seek for their husband during pregnancy," she said, then bowed politely. She's glad that she wake up in her dream. Though it was short. She really did enjoy it and is happy with that far-fetched reality. It's almost time for her to leave the country. She needs to focus on her work. The faster, the better, but I won't let you get away," murmured Nicholas, but those words did not reach the Empress' ears. That night they were supposed to sleep with each other. But awkwardness only filled the room. Nicholas tried to open his mouth a lot of times, but failed to say a word. "Your Majesty, I apologize, but I cannot serve you tonight. I'm really tired and I still have a lot of work to do tomorrow," she politely said. He scoffed. "All right." He said the lay on the other side of the bed. For him it was painful being near her, yet she's hard to reach. It feels like his effort to get closer to her the past year were all for naught. He's happy that he's having a child, of course. As a father, he's really glad that the child came to his life. But sometimes, he cannot bear to look at the Empress consort's belly as it reminded him of his broken relationship with the Empress regnant. He closed his eyes tightly still. Just being near her brings him shameless joy. It doesn't matter if she hates me. It doesn't matter if she detests me. She just needs to be by my side. She just needs to be somewhere I can reach. But Alaris was going to leave. He knows that she will leave no matter how much he stopped her. He needs to chain her. A chain even though she wants to leave, she just can't. There is only one way he can chain a woman. He needs to talk to the doctor that was checking up on Alaris tomorrow. After their awkward night, Nicholas went to the doctor first thing in the morning. "So you mean she can still get pregnant?" he asked. The old man was trembling. Nicholas has always had this aura that makes other ordinary people feel so small in his presence. It's something a swordmaster possesses. The only reason he never showed it to Alaris is because she told him to become a merciful ruler, one that can sympathize and empathize with the minority. She told him that on one night when they went out, the city lights were dazzling gold just like her eyes, that he did what she said. He ruled with mercy and didn't kill people that easily. He was kind enough to play with other children during orphanage visit. He never used violence. He always listens to the nobles. He can't even kill them even if they annoy him. That's the ruler that she created in him. It's hard to suppress his killing instinct and anger, but he did a good job. Alaris never knew that people trembles in his mere presence whenever she's not around. She never knew that a secret torture chamber under the Sun Palace was built. She never knew that the nobles that vanishes was taken care of him. She didn't need to know any of that. "Why, yes. Your Majesty," the doctor said. "How do I do it?" The Empress regnant was in possession of a fruit from the spirit world that makes the body once again healthy. She's been constantly consuming it, so if my hunch is correct, she's almost healed. He said, her ocean blue eyes glint. He can chain her here if she had his child. He can force her to stay. He was thinking of that when the door in the doctor's office slammed open. "Your Majesty, I apologize for my rudeness, but an epidemic was spreading in the south. It was so contagious that half of the people are now experiencing symptoms. 100 already died in just 5 hours. The hushing Pierre said. Call all the Imperial doctors for an immediate meeting. The Emperor ordered, and Your Majesty. The Empress regnant dashes off to south. She said she'll help healing the people in there. What the Emperor's face lose its color. Chapter 23. It was fortunate that the sky was clear. She was riding her horse as if her life depended on it. Why after all I did to stop the epidemic? Why is it spreading once more? She remembers that in the novel the epidemic killed hundreds of thousands of people. That's why years ago she did her best to locate the person in the south who will be infected first. The first victim was once again in the south, within the territory of Viscount Villain. He was a hedonistic man. He indulges himself in alcohol and women and usually neglects his duty as a noble. That's the main reason why the disease spread so fast. He didn't address the problem years ago. She tried to dethrone him and put his competent son in the Viscount position after healing the first victim of the epidemic, but his son suddenly disappeared. Everyone knows that the Viscount has a hand in this, but no concrete evidence was found. Thus he was able to keep his position. As a countermeasure, she convinced Nicholas to put an eye on the Viscount's territory, but they lost connection a month ago. That was when they sent a messenger in the South Territory, and after a month the news of the epidemic spreading sprout. For some reason, the magic communication device used by the messengers were destroyed and their messenger birds died. The weather in the region was stormy for the past days. That's the reason why, despite the short distance of the territory, the message arrived so late that the epidemic was now in a red alert. Your Majesty, please calm down, you can't go there. The knights that was following her yelled. Tell His Majesty to put the whole place in quarantine. Tell Caleb to give the doctors all my invested medical equipments. Also, tell the other knights to immediately get the supplies and foods that can be used by the people affected. I'll go first to heal the people who needed immediate attention. She said, not minding the knights, but Your Majesty. We need permission, we don't have time. People are dying, she said. But your health is more important. They are just commoners. They can just be healed when the doctors arrived. These kinds of words made her feel like an outsider. These are the times that she feels that this is really different from her world before. Although there were also people who thinks that way. Peoples who believed that all lives are equal are dominant. I know people's lives aren't equal in this society, but I want to be someone who at least made them feel valued. I want to help them. That was not something that she can do on her previous life. After all, wealth in her past life is a luxury, yes. She lived a pretty comfortable life, but every time she saw beggars on the street or people with disability asking for small amount of coins breaks her heart. She wanted to help them, but she can only give them coins. I will still go, she said with determination. It took her 3 days to arrive at the south. It was really fortunate that the stormy weather ended. One of their officials welcomed her. Greetings, Your Majesty, tell me the situation. There were currently approximately 3,000 people who were confirmed infected by the disease. Purple rashes are all over their body. 8,000 people are under observation as they have close contact with the victims, and there were additional 1,000 confirmed deaths. What about the children? There were also a lot of them that were infected. Their immune system is much weaker, so most of the infected people are under 10 years old. Where's Viscount Villain? He's hiding in his castle. He doesn't let people use his mansion as a refuge. He also didn't give any rations to the refuge camp. Despite me urging the Viscount, he didn't open his mansion's door. Some of our knights that were stationed here were also infected. I apologize, Empress, for not being able to report the situation right away. There was someone who broke our messaging devices and killed our messenger birds. Even some knights that we sent to deliver the message were killed along the way. It was just 5 days ago that we successfully sent a knight despite the stormy weather to report the situation. He said. He was the eye that were sent years ago by the Emperor. Baron Vin Rose, a loyal subject of the Emperor. Some spy must have been planted on your knights. I believe so, and I also think someone must have intentionally spread the disease. He said, what makes you think that? All the problems that arose when we were about to report to you the situation were too much of a coincidence. They know that the disease can be cured by your power, and they are not contagious within a week. They will only be contagious after the rashes breaks out. That's why they prevented us from contacting the capital right away. To let the disease spread for some weeks and cause serious damage. He said, did you find someone who can do that? We're suspecting the Viscount. But he doesn't have any reason to do so, he doesn't. But your majesty, the day before the disease were reported, he closed his mansion's gate and never opened it again. He's suspicious. It's like he knows that the disease will appear. He may not be the one to spread it, but he may have lent a hand. Let's talk about this later. Report everything back in the castle too. Get me to the most infected patients, I'll heal them. She said, as you wish, your majesty, the baron said. Nicholas almost lost his mind. She's doing it again. Messing with my emotions, purposely stirring me up, he thought. He ordered to ready his horse so he can join the Empress regiment, but he was stopped by Caleb and Pierre. That's when he discovered that the Empress has prepared for this moment. All the supplies and equipment and the doctors boarded the carriage. He received a report from the magic communication tool about the situation in there. Alaris also told him to not go after her. You are where we needed to be, your majesty. You have to assess the situation here. What I'm doing is just an immediate short-term action. You have to find a way to capture the one who spread the disease and punished him. That's what she said while treating the patients. But what about you? You cannot heal yourself. You are too exposed to the disease. Can you promise to come back to me alive and well? He murmured in thin air. Hi, I'm back. So finally nakapag sulit na rin ako, so yeah. I really just needed a short break, however. From now on, I can no longer update daily cause I'm really super busy. Please give me 2 days in between updates. I really can't update daily now. I'll try updating the story every 10 p.m. at most. Thank you, and I hope you understand, by the way. Non ko lang napansin mga wrong grammars and spelling ko ha ha ha. I hope you don't hold it against me, tao lang po. I don't usually proofread kasi so I can update faster. So if parang may off essay sentence and you cannot really understand it, you can address it to me so I can revise it. Thank you again. Love, author. Bonus story. Adeline's short story. Adeline stormed away from the ball. She was mad that her brother was so overprotective of her. Why do you always have to check who I am with? It's not like your mother or father, she said as she stomped her feet on the ground. That's just how brothers are, my lady. A silver-haired man with golden eyes said. Why are you here? You're the reason why my brother and I are fighting, she hissed. Whoa, that's a 180 change of attitude. I thought you liked me. I just find you cute and nothing more. Besides, Ally told me you're a trash, she did. Wow. That's a great way to introduce her older brother. Adeline looked at the young man with disdain and was about to get out of there when he said, I am Jacob Nathaniel de Ars, the first prince of the Lossless. He introduced himself. I don't need to know, she said. Nice to meet you, Lady Adeline Liliana Castidras. He said, did you just get me investigated? No, but I have my ways. Adeline's right brow twitched. So you did ask other girls about me. The process doesn't matter. It's my effort that counts. He said, flashing his billion-dollar smile. Wow. Did you woo all the other women with those smiles? What smile? Ally was right, you're a trashy playboy. I'll pass. Goodbye, she said. And here, I thought you can change me. Wanna bet who's going to fall first? He said mockingly. That's stupid. Oh, so you're scared of challenges? Women in these country was no fun after all, he said. Adeline's stupidity from some drinks earlier and her hurt pride take over her consciousness for a moment that led her to a stupid move. Really stupid move, incomprehensible move. Or maybe she also likes to do it. She suddenly gave Jacob a kiss. The gentleman smirked under his breath and played with her tongue. Adeline groaned. Wanna go to my room? I have tasty wines in there, he asked. Is wine the only tasty thing there that morning? Adeline stormed out of his room, regretting her decision that night. Cursing her stupid self. Jacob, on the other hand, watched Adeline picked up her clothes and rushed through the door mischievously. That's how I like it, babe. You running away and me chasing the rabbit you are, he said, licking his lips. Tasting the lingering taste of Adeline. Hi, this is a bonus story. I've already wrote this a while ago but was having a second thought publishing this cause this just popped up in my head, but yeah. You might as well enjoy this one. It's just short though. And this is my Pamboy from the 2 days I'm gone. Thanks much. Love, author. Chapter 24. It's been days since Alaris started healing the patients. She doesn't have much sleep and he hasn't eaten properly. She just wanted this to end. The epidemic has a cure. But she didn't bother to create it as she believes that the epidemic will no longer sprout as she already immediately healed the first person to be infected years ago. Besides, this disease came from poor sanitation, and she has been doing her best to make the slums clean and sanitized properly. And there was now a lot of improvement. The disease was a skin infection. The symptoms include fever, vomiting, headache, and difficulty in breathing. After 2 weeks, purple rashes with water inside it will appear. That's when the disease gets contagious. Once the rashes was touched, there was a high possibility that it will infect you. The doctors arrived days ago. They can only cure patients who doesn't have the rashes yet. That's the best shot. Once rashes appeared, then it will be difficult to cure it, and the doctors might also caught the disease. So as someone with healing powers, she was the one healing those with the rashes. Of course, she's not immune to the disease. But she needs to heal them, Your Majesty. You need to rest. The Baron, wearing his protective gear, said. Just give me a minute, I'll just finish this patient. I also need to sanitize myself now, she said. We're all glad that the number of highly infected patients decreased considerably, but you need to rest. Please let the other doctor treat them as well. His Majesty was also pressuring the others to find the cure. We're all worried for your health. I'm fine. I can still do this. Besides, the number of patients I need to cure is now below 100, she said while healing the next patient. I just need to keep at it a little longer. Just a little longer, then I will ask for a month leave. I also really wanted to rest. And please tell His Majesty that I just remembered that the flower of wisteria that can be found in Duke Elmia's territory is the cure, she said. The Baron bowed his head. As you wish, Your Majesty, he said. It's been days since she tried remembering the novel's contents, but her memory of it is fading. As far as she remembers, there was a person who was behind the spread of the disease. Viscount Villain is just his puppet. But she can't remember who. It took her another days to finally finish healing all the other patients. There were still some patients undergoing treatment, but it is no longer life-threatening. Hail to Her Majesty the Empress. Our life and loyalty are yours, the villagers shouted. She smiled. It seems that all her efforts are paid off. Additionally, now that they know the extent of her healing powers, and she gains the further support of the commoners, her power as the Empress Regnant increases. For now, she doesn't have to think about having a child for the sake of power. It was not her intention, but she's glad she gained something valuable. It is my duty as your Empress to be of service, she said, smiling. She instructed her maids to prepare her bath and a light meal. After taking a bath, she slumped back at her bed. It's really a long month. And she was glad they got through it. She picked up the letter sent by the Emperor. For the past month, he never failed to write her 2 letters within the day. One is a business letter reporting the progress of the epidemic case, while the other is a personal letter as a husband to his wife. Well, at least I know he hasn't abandoned me. She thought, my dearest Empress, how are you doing? Have you eaten properly? You always had a habit of forgetting to eat when you're too busy with work. Please don't exert yourself too much. Please let yourself rest. That's what I've always been writing you, but I hope after repeating that over and over again you'll do as I say. I heard that you're about to finish your task there. I wanted to see you soonest. You don't know how anxious I am as days goes by that you weren't here by my side. Please come back here safely. Praying for your safety, Nicholas. She smiled at the letter. Though he has been sending these kind of letters to her, she hasn't once replied. She doesn't know what to say. She no longer wants to drown in his sweet nothings. She opened the second letter. My dear Empress, we've been questioning Viscount Villain over the past month about the epidemic, but he has not said a thing. I've received your words about the cure, and Duke Elmia was refusing to cooperate. He wants the full custody of the production of the cure. Must have been his attempt to bring his name back as a proud noble. I've been trying to refute him, but because of the pregnant Empress consort, they have been adamant on pressuring me to yield on their whims. The Empress consort was also asking me to let her father create the cure, as she does not want the grandfather of our sons be the source of shame. She was in a sensitive phase of pregnancy, and I can't allow her to be stressed, so I have no choice but to yield. Although the Duke is a greedy snake, he was competent when it comes to creating medicine. I am ashamed in what is happening, but I once again ask for your understanding. She sighed. She's too exhausted to welcome any negative emotion. Besides, in the novel, It was indeed Duke Elmia who successfully created the cure, so it might not be a bad news. She started writing her response to the Emperor. Her thinking that making Duke Elmia have power over the cure is a good thing is a bad decision. When she came back to the palace after several weeks, she developed symptoms similar to the epidemic. It was not only her but also pregnant Empress consort. And according to Duke Elmia, he only has successfully created one cure as it also requires time fermenting the flour. Soon they have to choose who to save between the Empress regnant and the pregnant Empress consort. Hi, author here. So last time I announced that I will be updating 2 days in between. So here I am, hi. The next update will be on Saturday. If I am free, I'll be able to update early, but if not, maybe around 10 o'clock on the evening. Thanks much. Chapter 25. After a few days of rest, Alaris decided to went back to the palace. She plans to aid the Emperor on investigating Viscount Villain and helping Duke Elmia create the cure. She arrived at the palace at night and decided to go straight to her room. She tells her maid not to tell the Emperor her return as she has a feeling that he'll run to her. The next morning, a terrifying news came. It is said that the pregnant Empress consort was showing symptoms of the epidemic. It's horrible, Your Majesty, even before you came. She was having a fever. Doctors mistaken it by saying it was just due to her pregnancy or something, but now she's showing other symptoms. Too, her maid said. She was delivering her breakfast when she tells her the news. How is His Majesty? He went straight to the Empress consort's palace the moment he heard the news. She said she sighed. It's one problem after the other. Even though she slept through the night, her head was aching and she feels so tired. But she has to get up. She must heal the Empress consort and help with the paperworks. She still has so many things to do. Help me get dressed. I need to go to the Empress consort's palace. She said, but you still look so tired, Your Majesty. Are you sure you're okay? The maid asked. She just nodded. Of course, she feels horrible. But she has no choice. The moment she got up, she felt so dizzy that her vision became blurry. She heard her maid calling out her name before she passed out. Nicholas hurried over to the sick Empress consort. She was pregnant. How could this happen? We were so careful about the disease, and Dula Elmia haven't found the cure yet. When he arrived at the Empress consort's room, he saw 3 doctors examining her condition and some maids holding a clean water and towels. How is she? He asked. She's getting worse, Your Majesty. We can't recklessly give her medicine as she was pregnant, and it will do no good to the child. The doctor said. Nicholas clenched her fists. Then do something, D'Amenet, he shouted. Your Majesty, please calm yourself. The doctors were already doing their best. Pierre said, catching his breath from running, trying to catch up with the Emperor. But why is she still not cured? Those doctors must be incompetent, Your Majesty. I plead you to not be hasty in your decisions. I already received a letter from Duke Elmia stating that they already created the first medicine. It was the first successful one and is safe to be taken by pregnant women. However, it will take them another month to produce another in mass quantity as the flour needs to be fermented as a process. Pierre said. Then where the hell is that medicine? Why can't it be here quickly? He said impatiently. Your Majesty, please, we beg you to stay calm. Having a fit of rage is not good for the sick Empress consort. One of the maids said. Nicholas tried himself to calm down. Everything's a mess. He was tired and overworked and stressed, and he does all the work alone. If only the Empress regnant is by his side. They could have calmly think of a solution to all these mess. He went closer to Kashana's bed. She was breathing heavily. Please be patient, Kashana. The Duke will be here shortly, and so is Alaris. I'm sure you and our child will be fine. He whispered to her. His own words left a bitter taste in his mouth. He knew that if Kashana loses her child, then Alaris can strengthen her position once again, but here he is hoping for the Empress regnant to save the child that is endangering her life and position. But he knows that Alaris won't refuse healing her. She was kind and upright. She always do what's right regardless of what she feels. The perfect Empress, as they say. That's why in the past month that she's not there, he clearly and massively felt her absence. Not just her, but the whole palace. It was just then that he realized how strong the self-established position of the Empress regnant created in just a few years. She was also the reason why he became a better ruler. When you came back, I promise to be a better husband for you, so please just come back safely. I'll take you on a date and let you rest as much as you want. Just please come back to me now. He sat beside the Empress consort. He looked at her. So many things have changed since their childhood. And he knows that he loves her still just as much, but he clearly knows that his feelings was shaken whenever he was with the Empress regnant. The door suddenly opened, Your Majesty. The Empress regnant collapsed. Please send the other doctors. One of the maid of the Moon Palace rushes in. He immediately stood up, but a weak hand stopped him. Your Majesty, please stay by my side. I'm scared for our child. The weak Empress consort said. He was torn in between. He closed his eyes tightly and clenched his hands. He sighed and gave the orders. Send all the Imperial doctors to the Empress regnant. Thank you, Your Majesty, the maid said, then ran off. It was these times that he feels like his presence is useless for the Empress regnant. She was strong that she didn't need him. The maid didn't even bother asking him to come with her. It was always like that. Alaris never fought for him. And every time that reality slaps him, his chest felt so tight, like someone was gripping it. Is it the Empress regnant that is holding her heart? Kashana needs my presence and I can just send the doctor to her. She never needs me anyway. She rarely does that day. It was also confirmed that the Empress regnant caught the disease. Hers was much more quick to spread as she was very exposed to the disease month ago. That afternoon, Duke Elmia arrived holding the single medicine. Nicholas feels like he was on a crossroad of destiny. He can no longer take it, so he sneaked in the room of Alaris that night. She smiled and said, Nicholas, save the Empress consort. She was carrying your future heir. All the documents that is needed for the Empire is in Caleb's hands. Although it's going to be a pain, you'll have to practice doing all the paperwork yourself. She said, smiling. Hi. I have a bit of a time, so I wrote this. Next update will be on Monday. If I'm not busy, I'll update earlier. Thanks much. Chapter 26. It's happening again. She's stupidly sacrificing herself again for the others. Why are you doing this? Are you perhaps punishing me? He asked, almost whispered. This is the rational choice, Your Majesty. You know that people on our position were not allowed to decide based on our superficial feelings. She said coldly. He cannot see her face clearly as her bed was surrounded by thin curtains. But she was not looking at him. Is that really what you want? He asked. It doesn't matter what I want, Nicholas. What matters is that it is the right thing to do. It's been a while since he heard his name lingers on her lips. Heck, he hasn't even heard his voice during the past weeks of her absence. And the first thing that he'll hear is all this nonsense. I've waited for you for the last long weeks that feels like eternity. I obliged to your plea not to come to your aid when you went to the place where the epidemic started. I listened to you too when you told me to ask the person I resented the most to rely on him making the cure. I followed your decisions because I trusted you considering the short span of years we're together. But have you ever considered my feelings? His anger is rising up. He clenched his fists. This is not what he thought will happen if she come back. They were supposed to be in his room with their body intertwined. He waited and waited for her just for things to turn out this way. I never wanted you hurt. Every time I saw you like that, I feel like destroying the people who hurt you. You told me never to be a tyrant that kills mindlessly, but I'm willing to turn back to the old me the moment I lose you. Alaris, you know how much I stop. Don't say another word, she commanded. Even with the thin fabric, he could see her golden eyes looking straight to him. You cannot and don't have the rights to say those words to me. Whatever you call that feelings, I won't accept it. We're going to part ways in a year, so whatever it is you're going to say is useless. She said. And who told you we're going to separate in a year? He almost roared. That's what our contract says. That's what we agreed upon in the first place. So you don't care about the relationship or the memories that we build. You'll abandon me after all the things that we shared together. I know we shared a lot and I'll cherish it till the day I die, but that's it. From the beginning, I don't have any plans to prolong this relationship. I want to be free, Nicholas. Can't you do it by my side? We're okay with everything. Alaris's face crumpled. Is that what you really think, is it not? Either we're happy, I am not fully happy, she said, then burst out crying. For the past years, Nicholas never see her cry. She was always strong. That some people thought that she doesn't shed tears, and Nicholas was one of them. He always thinks that she's okay. I'm so tired of everything. I'm tired of doing your work while you were with other women. I'm tired fighting for my position. I'm tired from all the dirty glares the other nobles are throwing at me. I'm tired of sacrificing myself and my time and my peace just to keep yours. I am just 19 when I married you. I am just still so young to endure any of this. But you never took my side. You always tells me to do my job or to understand my situation wherein you never intend to understand me. The only reason why I seem okay is because that's the last bit of my pride that I have. I don't want you seeing me weak. I'm never happy when we are together knowing that you were never mine alone. That everything that you give me is something that I must share to other people who are making me miserable. I'm just so tired of everything. I can no longer endure it for another years or so. I wanted to go home. I miss my parents. I miss my brothers. I miss my home. Please let me go already. I no longer want to help you in your delusion that everything about me is fine. I am never fine, she said, sobbing for the first time. She looks like a child in his eyes. She was always like a cold fortress. Someone so grand that she was considered perfect for the roles of the Empress, and she is. But he never considered her feelings or the weight of her responsibility. It was his fault. It was all his fault for thinking she can handle everything when he himself also leans on her during tough times. But who does the Empress Regent leans on? He was the only one who she can lean on, but he was always worried about his other wife. I am sorry, so please give me another Chan. And what about the Empress consort? There was silence. Yes. Kashana was someone who he fought for and the reason why he desired this power. What about her? She was also someone who wanted you for herself. Nicholas, she needs you. Are you saying you're going to abandon her for me? He opened his mouth to say something, but no words came out. Of course, he can't abandon her. And that's what makes her feel more miserable. She was never chosen by him. Please get out. Just leave me alone, Your Majesty. I'm tired, she said. I'll fix everything. I'll make sure you're cured. So please get out. She yelled as she threw her pillows at him. For a second there the curtains parted and revealed the clear condition of the Empress Regnant. Nicholas' body turns cold as he saw some purple rashes in her face. No, please no, he said. I can't cure myself, Your Majesty. It's too late for me now. Please save the Empress consort, she said. He was about to say something, but a maid fervently knocked at the door. Your Majesty. Duke Elmia came and went straight to the Empress consort's palace and give them the medicine. They didn't even. She stopped when he saw the Emperor standing beside her bed. What did you say? The Emperor asked with a pale face. Hi, I hope you enjoyed this chapter. Next update will be on Thursday. Thank you. Chapter 27. What did you say? He asked. He felt like his veins will burst from the anger that was arising within him. How could the Duke do that without consulting him? The Duke made the right choice. It's already over, Your Majesty, she said. Nicholas' head was filled with murderous thoughts. He wanted to release this anger. Everything's not going according to his plans. He's about to lose her. A voice inside his head keeps saying that he's going to lose her forever. His head is full of those thoughts and he's scared. He's scared to death. It feels like someone was squeezing his heart, making him unable to breathe. If it's going to be like that, then might as well die with her. He moves closer to her bedroom. His body feels like it has its own mind. Just a simple touch of her. He'll get infected by the disease. Alaris looked at him with horror. She slowly shakes her head while looking at his dead, cold eyes. She doesn't know why, but the Emperor was acting strange. She doesn't know what he's thinking, but she knows it is not good. Stay away from me, Nicholas, she firmly ordered. Tears suddenly fell from his dead, cold eyes. Stay away from me, she shouted. The Emperor just continued walking slowly towards her. She tries to move away from him. Constance. Get the Emperor away from me, hurry. She shouted at the top of her lungs. The knights outside her room barge in and hold the Emperor. No, why are you stopping me? He shouted like a madman. Empress order. Do not let him near my palace unless I say so. She said, but Your Majesty, he is our emp. She cut off Constance. He gave me the sole sovereignty of my servants in my palace. I am your master. He might be the Emperor, but you. The servants of the Moon Palace is under my direct authority, she said. They drag the Emperor towards his quarters, and the doctors inject him drugs so he can calm down and sleep. Alaris sighed. She looked at her hands with the purple rashes. I'm going to die, aren't I? She mumbled. Please don't say that. We'll do our best to cure you, Your Majesty, Constance said with worried expression. It's funny how I can cure the others while I cannot cure myself. The spirits must still be angry at me for marrying to another country despite their protests. But what can I do? I fell in love with the country, and I found my purpose in life when I saw those poor people. And he was also here. She almost blurted out, but kept the last one to herself. She smiled bitterly. I guess this is the end. I just feel bad that my parents are not beside me. Alaris already died once. She may have died once, but strangely she feels scared. She's really scared. Please leave me alone. I want to rest, she said. Nicholas frequently visited the Alaris, but she never once let him in. She even sealed her windows so he can't go inside. He feels like he's going to lose his mind. Your Majesty, aren't you going to eat? Kashana asked as she held his hand on the table gently. They were having a little celebration from his recovery. She looked at her. It's been a week since she drank the cure and she's looking healthy now. He's glad. He's relieved that she and their child was healthy. But at what cost? He doesn't know what to feel. He knows it was not Kashana's fault and Alaris is right. She needed the medicine more than her. The thing that he can't accept is that she was always willing to sacrifice herself, but never thought of what the people around her might feel. You cannot and don't have the rights to say those words to me. Whatever you call that feelings, I won't accept it. We're going to part ways in a year, so whatever it is you're going to say is useless. He suddenly remembered her words. He clenched his jaws. What she said was right. Everything that she said was right. After the things that he does on their first year of marriage, his feelings are useless. He knows it. That's why he gave it his all during the recent years. And he knows it was not enough. But what can he do when she just left like that? What can he do when she was resigned to leave him? He just can't accept it. He stood at his seat. He's going to pester Alaris again until she doesn't have a choice but to let her see him. But when he was about to leave, Kashana grabbed his hand. Please, Your Majesty. My friends are here to congratulate me. Please at least don't leave me alone, she said. He looked at her intently. How can the Empress consort host a small party when the Empress regnant is fighting for her life, saving her? The Empress is sick. She needs someone on her side. He said coldly, but I just recovered. Can't you stay and at least look happy for me? She said, I already dine with you. I just need to visit her and She doesn't need you, Your Majesty. I'm the one who needs you. She's strong and pretty and smart. She can do everything on her own. You also know that there's nothing you can do to cure her. My father's already making a cure. Why can't you be beside me and be happy that I am fine? Or what? Do you prefer it that me and our child dies instead of her? She shouted. Some guests looked at the two of them. He motioned the servants to let the guests out so they can have privacy. That's not it. I am happy that really. Is that really the truth? Ever since that she came, our life was an utter chaos. You were mine. You're supposed to only be mine. I'm so relieved that the first concubine died when you gave her your affections, but then you shifted your attention to her. I hate it when I have to share you. You're all I have. Please. Please don't leave me behind. Please just let her die so we can be together again. She said desperately. Nicholas was dumbfounded. She was saying that she was happy that someone died. And she was saying that Alaris must die so they can be together once again. She's looking at a broken woman. It is him who pushed her to become like this. But where did it go wrong? Everything in the past that he did is for her. He desperately tried to gain power for her. He married those women so he can protect her. He made contract with Alaris so he can still protect her and her position. Alaris never coveted her position. He always assured her that she will still protect her. But what goes wrong? He did everything for her. Why did she still wanted the life of a woman precious to him? Didn't he gave it his all to her? What exactly do you want from me, Kashana? He asked softly. I want the past us. I want the you who only looked at me. I want the you who only spends time with me. And now your time was divided in 3 women. You even spend more time working with that woman and spend some to your other son. Why can't it be just us, Nicholas? He looked at her puzzled. How can I do that? She was silent. She gulped. You can hand over the throne to my father as he was the next line in the throne without considering your heirs. Then we can live in the countryside together with our sons. Then they can inherit the throne after. That's what my father said when he visited me, and he notices that you rarely spend time with me. And he suggested that We can live quietly in there and have this child inherit the throne after. MMHH, she said, is this really the woman that he loved? Is she really saying all of that, Kashana? Your Majesty, it's an urgent news. A maid from the Moon Palace just came and said that the Empress Reganant died, Pierre said after barging in the room. Nicholas' blood runs cold. Hi. Apologize for the long wait as a token of apology. I'll upload another chapter tomorrow, thank you. By the way, I want to hear your opinion badly. Do you think our ML Nicholas is a red flag of nah? Just needed your opinion so I can know what course should I take, haha. I actually has 2 endings prepared, so please tell me if you think he's a red flag. Thank you. Author LT3 Chapter 28. Nicholas dashes off towards the Moon Palace. He never runs that hard in his life. He runs as if he can still chase after her soul so he can put it back in her body. When he arrived at the Empress Regnant's bedroom, he saw the gloomy maids and the silently crying head maid Constance. He walked closely and saw the Empress Regnant beautiful face. Her rashes are gone and she only looks like she's sleeping. It's a joke, right? Look, her rashes are gone. And she was just sleeping, right? Tell me, he shouted, trying to control the overwhelming feelings of his. The doctor speaks. We tried injecting her a medicine that can alleviate her rashes days ago. When we saw her rashes gone, we thought she already doing good, but she suddenly can't breathe and no she's. He did not finish his sentence. The Emperor grabbed the old doctor's coat. Did you mean to tell me that the medicine made her condition worse? Even your life is bought enough to replace hers. He shouted, please stay calm, your Majesty. The doctor pleaded, please let him go, your Majesty. The Empress Regnant asked us to prevent you from killing the doctor. That's her last words, Constance pleaded. He let go of the doctor, even at the end. You still worried for the others? What should I do with you, my Empress? He said as he leaned closer to her. He held her hand. Please come back to me, I'm begging you. It feels like all his energy left him. He was so tired of everything. Is this what you mean when you told me you're tired? Please open your eyes, Empress. I'll give you anything, just please come back. He said, please accept our condolences, your Majesty. The doctor spoke. What do you mean, condolences? She's just sleeping, he burst in anger. Tears fell from his cheeks. She wouldn't die like this. She's a proud woman, so she wouldn't let herself succumb to an illness like this. She's just asleep, she'll wake up in time, he said. He then lifted Alaris's body. The servants were in shock, your Majesty. Please let her rest in peace, Constance pleased. Shut up. If someone tried to stop me once again, I'm going to execute all of you. He shouted at a frightening voice. His eyes filled with tears, seems like blood from all his emotions. He was burning with rage and grief. Nicholas brings her body to his own room. I'll let you stay in here for a while. You always slipped from my grasp, so this time. Stay by my side, always, my Empress. He said while touching her face lightly as if talking to an alive human being. He's gone mad. The person that was keeping him sane and upright is now gone. My Empress, if you don't wake up, I won't stop purging all the people responsible for your death. He said. He went to get his sword. I'll start with that stupid bastard of a Viscount Empress, he said, and like a mad person, he walked dragging his sword towards the underground dungeon where Viscount Villain was staying. His eyes were so cold and feels like blood was running down from it. No one dares to get in his way. He was so frightening that the servants made way instantly. Kashana was looking from afar. Even though she's been with him the longest, she's never seen him this scary. She was trembling. The bloodlust from Nicholas was terrifying. She doesn't know what to do, so she ran towards her palace. She was just so scared and sad that he was going to those lengths for the Empress Regnant. When Nicholas was in front of Viscount's villain prison cell, his anger boils up when he saw him lying on a comfortable bed with delicious meal on the side table. Clearly, someone was making him comfortable in his stay. He drags his sword, and in 2 strikes he destroyed the prison cell. What the? The Viscount didn't finish what he's saying when Nicholas suddenly pierced near his heart. He made sure not to damage an internal organ so he can still live. The Viscount coughed blood. You're taking your sweet time here when my wife suffered because of you. But I'll give you last chance, you see. Ally hates it when I kill people. So I'm going to kill you so she can get up from her slumber and just to scold me. He said that pierced the sword deeper. The Viscount cannot speak a single word. Though the pain is intolerable, he can't shout as the Emperor's bloodlust aura makes him suffocate even more. Then Nicholas pulled out the sword and pierced him again and again, making sure that he doesn't pierce and inter all organs. After a while of stabbing and stabbing, the Viscount finally died from bloodlust. "Ah, you're way too fragile. You died even before my wife came to me to scold me," he said with his bloodied appearance. The knights that were slacking off came back from outside and saw the horrible scene. "Why, Your Majesty," they didn't finish their words and just slashed them and they died. He saw the maids holding a fancy alcohol and foods that were probably for the Viscount. He seems to be living a pretty comfortable life with the help of bribing the servants. His anger was constantly rising up. He suddenly killed all of them. The prison was covered with blood. "I killed a lot of people now, ally. Please wake up and scold me now," he said, but no one answered. Nicholas laughed coldly. "So this is how you gonna play it, huh?" he said, then kills the people he sees. The servants all locked their rooms. "The Emperor has gone mad," they were all thinking. Nicholas was walking outside the dungeon. What a sight, a woman's voice. Nicholas coldly looked at the old woman. When he realized who she is, he burst into tears. "I'm sorry I failed to protect your daughter," he said, sobbing like a child. "Hi, it's me again. Hope you'll enjoy this too. Love lots." Chapter 29. Everything's a mess. The prison cell was a sea of blood from the servants and the disfigured Viscount. The cell itself is a wrench. In the middle of it all is a dangerously handsome man with his shining blonde hair and piercingly cold blue eyes. He was full of blood. The other servants ran away in fear. But no matter how much he kills, his bloodlust won't quench. The stabbing and suffocating pain won't go away. He's not contented with what those corpses experiences before death. The Emperor took a torch and threw it at them. The fire slowly burned their bodies. "I will make sure not even a single piece of you will be seen," he said, breathing heavily. The pain is still there. How can he alleviate this pain? What a mess. A soft voice said. Nicholas froze. A voice that was similar to the voice he wanted to hear. He looked at her direction. Black hair and light brown eyes. Although different shades from his beloved, the appearance is very similar. Tears fell down from his eyes actually. One can barely tell if it was blood or tears. Isolde Gabrielle de Ars, the Queen of Los Islas and Alaris's mother. "I hurriedly came here when I feel that the thread of life of my daughter flicker." "What happened?" she asked calmly. He was trembling. He never felt this way before. Embarrassment, sadness, shame, guilt, pain, agony. All of that is swirling in his head. He dropped his sword. "I apologize. I failed to protect her," he said. "You never did protect her. She was never your priority to begin with," she said. Nicholas cannot utter a single word. What she said was right. He never prioritizes her as he always thought that she's strong enough to handle herself. "Oh, I'm not blaming you. It was my daughter's decision. Despite knowing that this may happen, she still married you, and she was always ready to accept the consequence. I love my daughter, and I always wanted the best for her and always supports her. But now I'm kinda regretting it," she said. He was just bowing his head. He didn't know what to say. "My daughter is not dead. Her soul was still wandering around. In particular, she was here all the time trying to stop you," she said. That's when Nicholas came back to his senses. He looks around hoping to see a singed glimpse of her, but there was none. "Are you, sir? I'm going to reconnect the broken thread of her soul and body." Nicholas' face brightens. "You mean she can still be saved? I can still see her?" he excitedly asked. The pain in his chest is slowly fading just from those mere words. "Yes, it's still not her time anyway," she said. But I want to take her back. I'll bring my daughter home," she said. He was taken aback. "Take her back? But she can't leave my side. I don't know what will happen to me if she's really gone." "What about Kashana?" Alaris' voice rang into her ears. Kashana was someone who he worked hard for all his life to be freed. She was his friend, companion, and lover ever since they were children. His shackles to the Imperial throne and the Duke's grasp. He honestly wants to run away. There are a lot of times that he wants to turn his back on her, but he can't. Because he loves her. Because her change is not enough reason for him to leave her. He should love her with all she is. That's what love is, as per Alaris. And that's the reason why she never wanted to go between them. Alaris believes what they have is true love. But is it? Is true love something that's supposed to shackle and suffocate you? Please lead the way. He came back from his thought when the queen spoke again. Why you can't take her back, he said. And why is that, your majesty? The queen asked with her back on him. We have a contract, we can't just get separated. You're what? I've had enough of you tormenting my daughter. I am a mother, and seeing her like that hurts me the most. I don't care about your opinion, I'm taking her back. His father and brothers will be here in a few days. We'll take her back, but this is her home. I am her husband, and I told you I am her mother. What if she doesn't want to go? What if she wants to stay, what if? We'll just see if she still wants to stay. So please lead the way, she said with determination. He failed to say another word. Her determined gaze reminds him so much of Alaris. He resigned and showed her the way. When they were at his room, the queen hugged her daughter, sweetie. We're going home now, she said. She was about to go near them, but the queen spoke. Stay away from us, you're dirty. He looked at his hands covered in blood. She's right. He is dirty. Will Alaris still wants to be with him when she sees him like this? Will she still stay even if she died because of his indecisiveness? Honestly, he's not confident enough. What will he do if she really left? Are the iron bars underground strong enough to contain the people who has the blessing of spirits? Is he confident enough to go hand-on-hand combat with these people? He's disgusted to himself. How can he think of fighting against her family? But he's desperate to keep her. He turned his back. Prepare a quick bath, he ordered the maid. He needs to cool himself first. The queen was very much hurt with her daughter's condition. How can you let this happen? Do you know how heartbroken your mom is when she saw your thread of L life weakens? Let's go back home now, she said as she uses her power to reconnect her thread of life. Isolde was granted by the spirits the power to manipulate the thread of life. She can see different kind of threads in people, some connected with other people depending on their relationship. And the reason why she let Alaris marry Nicholas is because they are connected by the thread of fate. They are bound to be together. She knows that the red thread of fate that connects them was strong and cannot be broken that easily. They are akin to soulmates. But she is willing to break them apart if it means that her daughter will suffer like this. After she reconnects the white thread of light of Alaris, her daughter groaned and slowly opened her eyes. Welcome back, my dear, the queen said, teary-eyed. Little did they know that the queen showcasing the power of the spirits will further make Alaris tied down in Phil Leon Empire.